back with the #1 television program for pro wrestling worldwide.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Season 5 premiere of Tuesday Night TalkDown, on time as promised. I am your host, Mad Dog Marty Sugar, and after 2 months off, Big West is ready to get rocking and rolling and back in business. Our first weekend of the 2023 season is coming up this very weekend, February 3rd in Rutland and February 4th in Vernon. And the semi-main event of Rise Above at Rutland Centennial Hall this Friday night is a Big West Internet title match between reigning and defending champion, the 2022 Most Improved, Most Hated, and Big West Wrestler of the Year, Rick Jules, and the upstart, Big Rig, Jimmy Mitchell. Let's waste no time tonight and hear from both champion and challenger right now.
On February the 3rd, I, Rick Jules, the Patriarch, the Big West Wrestling Internet Champion, return to the Rutland Centennial Hall in Kelowna, British Columbia to defend my championship against Big Rig Jimmy Mitchell in a match that many online say is an easy win for the Big Rig. Clearly, these folk are unfamiliar with my exploits in Big West Wrestling. They need a reminder of what I did the last time I was in the Rutland Centennial Hall. I dissected a former champion, Chucky Lee Ray, all over that building, and after I left him motionless, devastated, heartbroken, I entered the Rutland Rumble match. I stood toe-to-toe with the Mauler and Kyle Sebastian. I even eliminated Kyle from that match. And though it was the Mauler that won, and I may be staring into his eyes across a Big West ring sooner than later, the biggest takeaway from that night is what I am capable of, and believe me when I say my family is just getting started. Jimmy, this match to you, in your words, is two big men slapping meat. But now I ask you, what will you do when I begin to tear that meat off of your bones? How will you react when we are both covered in your blood? Will they call you champion? Or will you be another meal to satiate my hunger, to feed my family and to sustain my reign as Big West Wrestling Internet Champion.
Whoo, buddy, it's your favorite renegade trucker, Big Rig Jimmy Mitchell here. And you know, it don't matter that Mean Machine Sr. weaseled out of our map somehow. No, that's okay, because when one door closes, a title shot opens up. And it's Big Rig's first title shot. And on February 3rd at the Rutland Centennial Hall, whoo, buddy, Mr. Rick Jules, you got a date with old Big Rig for your Big West Wrestling Internet title. Now I know what the fans want in a title fight. They want to see us meet in the middle, they want to see us swing for the fences, and they want to see who goes down first. And that's exactly what we're going to do, Mr. Rick Jules. I've been training. I hope you've been training. I want the best Rick Jules Big West has ever seen, because I'm bringing the best Big Rig Jimmy Mitchell that Big West has ever seen. And the fans don't deserve nothing less. Big Rig, over and out.
Now here's something that concerns me, wrestling fans. Is Big Rig excited for his first title match? Yes, indeed. But is he completely focused? He mentioned Mean Machine Sr., whom he was supposed to face back on January 14th in Enderby, but that show was only postponed due to concerns about icy road conditions in and around the shoe swap region. It's back on track, and Big Rig will face the Masked Bully in a truck stop chain match in March. Should our favorite renegade trucker even be thinking about Mean Machine Sr. right now when the diabolical Rick Jules is ready and waiting in Rutland this Friday? It's a common mistake that young wrestlers have always made and will always make, and we will come back to that in a moment, because the feature match on Friday night is the return of the K5 ladder match, where 5 wrestlers will meet in the main event to reach for the sky and try to grab the K5 medallion from the Rutland Centennial rafters. That medallion is not only shiny and stylish, but it guarantees the wearer to a Big West title match anytime, any place. Since its inception in 2015, all 5 people to hold the medallion have gone on to become Big West champion in relatively short order, so it's definitely a trinket worth risking life and limb for. There's a good mix of new and old faces and wrestlers of all levels of experience in the 5 qualifying matches that will make up the first half of Friday night's festivities. Up first, let's look at what's quickly become a hot rivalry between 2 young men out of Nanaimo, Jake Kruger and Evan Ashford. I've known Kruger since he was 3 years old, and the fact that he's now a pro wrestler fills me with almost fatherly pride, although his attitude leaves me with something more like fatherly disappointment. Meanwhile, Ashford became the youngest ever Grapple Bowl winner back in November and was the 2022 Big West Newcomer of the Year. I tell y'all, I watched these 2 tear into each other a few months ago, and while the prize back then wasn't worth much in my humble opinion, the one that could be in their grasp on Friday is definitely worth another war. So let's hear from them both, shall we?
Evan Ashford, is it your dream to become big in Big West Wrestling? Is it your dream to become champion eventually? Let me tell you this. On February 3rd, at the Rutland Centennial Hall, your dream ends. And your nightmare begins.
Big West Wrestling on February 3rd. Me and Jake Kruger face off in a K5 ladder match qualifier. Now, me and Jake have faced off in a Big West Wrestling ring before, and that match left me with my hand raised. But me and Jake Kruger also faced off in Nanaimo, where he got his hand raised. So now, both of us are 1-1. So our best of 3 will end in Big West Wrestling where it started. And one of us is going to walk away and go to that ladder match. And it'll most likely be me. Because in Nanaimo, you had your friends to back you up. As much as I don't like you, I have to respect what you do in the ring, because you're a good wrestler. But as much as I respect you, as soon as that bell rings, February 3rd, it's going out the window. And I'm coming at you with all the fire I can muster. So Jake Kruger, I'll see you on February 3rd.
Up next is the Battle of Alberta as KB6 makes his return to Rutland looking for his first win in town against the debuting Danny Evans. Danny is a veteran of the Albertan hardcore wrestling scene, so ladder matches are right up his alley, baby. And thanks to his new recruitment into that damned family jewels, will it be a thoroughly successful Danny debut? Let's talk about it.
February 3rd, KB6 makes his grand return to Big West Wrestling. That's when I go up against the newest member of the family, Jules. Y'all gotta work on that name. But, Danny, it really breaks my heart seeing such a strong competitor just turn into someone's lackey. But you know what? I'm gonna have to treat you like the henchman that you are, put you down real quick, then go into the main events and retrieve that K5 medallion, which will give me a chance to challenge for the championship anytime, anywhere.
February 3rd, Rutland, British Columbia. Danny Evans gets to make his Big West Wrestling debut. And I get to wrestle a man who helped bring me into this business. KB6. We've teamed up together. We've wrestled one another. This time it's going to be different. Because there's a goal in mind. And that is to beat you and walk in to the K5 medallion ladder match. Climb that ladder and retrieve the medallion. And you see, I also am coming to make sure that Rick Jules walks away still champion. And that is by any means necessary.
Let's switch gears a minute and take a look at what could become a serious feud very quickly in BC as Matt Maverick makes his Big West debut against the self-professed finest fighter in the company, Todd Quality. Of course, Todd is flanked by the 2022 Big West Manager of the Year and the only name in quality management, Lance Skullz, who does not like this match graphic one iota. But to hell with them! And this is not the only time Maverick and Quality will do battle in February. They meet again just 3 weeks later in Nanaimo. Here's Maverick to talk about his Big West debut.
You know, I've cut a lot of promos that never aired. I've been advertised for matches that never happened. Matt Maverick debuts for Big West Wrestling. It's honestly starting to feel like more of a curse than an opportunity. But you know what? Curses are made to be broken. So on February 3rd, at the Rutland Centennial Hall, Matt Maverick will debut for Big West Wrestling. And I've got quite the challenge ahead of me. Maybe my biggest challenge yet, in the form of Todd Quality. But you know what, Todd? I've got a lot to prove. So after I serve up a good old-fashioned quality ass-kicking, I'm going to enter that K5 ladder match, climb the rungs of success, grab that medallion, guarantee myself a shot at the Internet Championship. I'll see all of you in Rutland.
And where are words from Lance and Todd, you ask? Well, those two bullies have been very busy. They stole the Okanagan Cup in November, they plan to ruin the very fabric of time and space in Vernon, and who knows what they plan to do to ruin Rise Above in Rutland.
Hi there, Big West Wrestling. This is Lance Skullz and Todd Quality, Manager of the Year and the most...
I'm the most underappreciated wrestler you've ever talked about. I can tell you that.
It's very true, and you can also call us the unforeseen circumstance because we're the reason the Enderby show got canceled. We got your attention now, Big West Wrestling?
Are you trying to tell me these two buffoons claim they can control the weather? You've gone too far, boys. Something's got to be done. Regardless, Vernon on February 4th at the Schubert Center is going to be a fun one. As Monty Python always said, now for something completely different. More theatrical than any pro wrestling event the Okanagan has ever seen, the cast and crew and crowd will be transported back to February 4th, 1989, as Todd Quality and Lance Skullz plot to destroy the very future that we call the present. Dress up in your 80s best, Vernon, and join us for a truly mind-bending and time-warping experience. Now let's take a look at polar opposites when it comes to delivery, as the dirty rotten Johnny Roston, first recruit into the family jewels, battles the debuting gambler, Bryce Lowe.
So, Big West, I didn't realize February 3rd was a casino night. You guys got me slotted up on the boards against some kid named the Gambler. I don't know if it's his debut or he's just coming out of training school, but I can't pretend to find anything on this kid, and all I want to do is study my opponent. And the way I see it, that's just a more dirty pool by Marty Sugar. Listen, I understand, Marty, you don't like me very much, and that's for a given soul. But now you're gonna send this kid all the way back to Vancouver without a W or money in his damn pocket, because he's gonna be looking up and seeing the lights, and there will be no payday window for him. I'll see you on the 3rd, and I might as well start celebrating right now. Because just like any other time I'm in this Centennial Hall, I walk out with the W. Roston, out!
Howdy. I am the gambler Bryce Lowe. In just a few weeks as of recording this, I'll be making my Big West Wrestling debut. A lot of things have been going through my head as of recent. To be featured on a card stacked with this much talent has gotten me all warm and fuzzy inside. Big Rig Jimmy Mitchell is going head-to-head with Rick Jules for the Big West Wrestling Internet title. Under the debut, Sean Murphy, training out of a little school called Black and Brave, ran by a pretty popular wrestler, Seth freaking Rollins. In all this anticipation, I almost forgot about myself, playing my hand against Johnny Roston in a quick K5 qualifier match. Johnny, you didn't take long to come after the gambler in your little Instagram story, and really I do applaud you. You managed to catch me off guard, something I can promise you will never do again. You're gonna realize pretty quick it takes more than an attitude problem and a jean jacket to make me fold. Big words can be said through a screen, but if you think you got deep enough pockets to buy in at the gambler's table, I got no problem showing you how fast luck can run out. Do yourself a favor. On February 3rd at the Rutland Centennial Hall, keep your eyes on the cards, player. You never know how many aces the gambler has up his sleeve. I'll see you when I see you.
Who knows? Maybe these two whiskey-slinging young men will become drinking buddies by the time the night is through. Speaking of which, there is a beer garden in both Rutland and Vernon this coming weekend, and always drink responsibly. Now, earlier in the program, I mentioned that maybe Big Rig wasn't fully focused on Rick Jules, and nobody screams lack of focus more than the madcap Johnny Roston. As you heard in his promo, he spent as much time screaming about me as he did screaming about the gambler. Just like he screamed at me in Enderby, and in a promo he sent to the Big West office just a few days ago.
Marty, I've been up all night celebrating my future win to the gambler on February 3rd at the Rutland Center, and I got to thinking, what's been winning the K5 token? Me and my newfound friend Rick Jules are gonna have full control over Big West Wrestling, and you're gonna have a Big West problem. I'll see you on the 3rd, Marty, and once again, you've made this personal. That's not my problem.
I'm not going to sabotage tonight's program by responding to that diatribe. All in due time, young Johnny boy. All in due time. Let's instead look at our last K5 qualifier, which is a very intriguing matchup indeed. First off, you've got the debuting Sean Murphy, who is a recent graduate of the Brave and Black Wrestling Academy, run by indie veteran Merrick Brave and some kid named Tyler Black. Whatever happened to that guy? Yes, of course I'm joking, it's Seth freaking Rollins. Quite the pedigree this young prodigy has, and in his pro wrestling debut, he faces the prodigy of Big West Wrestling, Shreds. Now, Shreds had a pretty massive pro debut in Rutland when he faced BC legend Bishop nearly a decade ago, ago, and now it's Shred's time to return the favor. Only hopefully it doesn't end with a knockout smack in the middle of the ring. And not only is Murphy beginning his wrestling history against the most dominant champion in Big West history, Shreds is looking to make history of his own. As not only is he the first ever winner of the K5 back in 2015, but he has a chance to become the first two-time winner of the medallion as well. Let's hear from both rookie and veteran right now.
February 3rd, Big West Wrestling, the debut of Sean Murphy. And in my debut, I will be taking on the hometown boy. I will be taking on one of the most decorated wrestlers to ever step foot in a Big West wrestling ring. I will be taking on Shreds, the inaugural K5 champion, the only 4-time TV champion. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that this kid can't beat a guy like that. Well, guess what? I have made a life of proving people wrong. I have made a life of making people eat their own words for doubting me. And February 3rd will be no different. Because at the end of the match, when that second bell rings, Shreds, you will respect me. And these fans will never forget Sean Murphy.
Did you see it? Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it the other day, yeah. It's not bad, right? It's not bad for a first timer. The only thing I was just like, he was throwing around terms like respect and making people eat words and, you know. Oh, here, hold on. Let me call you back. Big West, what's up, guys? February's kicking off with a bang! K5 ladder match. I can't wait. It's been years since I've been in one of those. But first, I got a little bit of a qualifier match against a kid. A new guy. A rookie. Sean Murphy. Kid. Before you start throwing around these terms like respect and making people eat, before you start saying these things, you must survey the land. You gotta know the territory in which you are about to embark. You don't want to bite off more than you can chew. Some might go and say, you must learn how to walk before you can run. My friend, Shreds has been in this game for 10 years. I've made the mistakes you are making right now. Anybody over the last 10 years that has ever stepped foot in that Big West wrestling ring, I have kicked their ass. Bishop, Marty Sugar, Scotty Mack, Danny Deeds, Colin Cutler, Shotgun Stevens, KB6. The list goes on. Black Dragon. The list goes on. February 3rd, Rutland Centennial Hall. You're going to find out why Shreds is Kelowna and Kelowna is Shreds.
Shut up, car.